Hi there, this is Linda and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to take you along with me to the United Arab Emirates for 4 days in Dubai and 1 in Abu Dhabi. Let's go ahead and dive right in. And we're off. Let's go to the United Arab Emirates. For this vacation, I started in Doha, Qatar, and I have a separate travel and document with me video for that city and country. So if you want to see that one, I will link it in the description box below. I also shared in that video what journaling supplies I brought with me for this vacation. So if you're interested in that, check it out over there and my journal setup. But for this video, I'm going to start with our 1-hour flight to the United Arab Emirates. So it was a super quick flight and we got there in the late afternoon and had a little bit of an afternoon to explore before our first full day in Dubai. We stayed in the JW Marriott, which is in the Business Bay area and was a very centrally located hotel. I highly recommend it. It's also one of the tallest hotels in the world and we were super high up. So this is a view from my balcony. You couldn't actually go out on the balcony for safety reasons, but you could look out from the window and I'm kind of happy I couldn't go out because it was pretty high up. The first afternoon, we didn't have much time, so we just went to the city walk to explore and get some food. It was just a nice outdoor mall. The weather was beautiful. Dubai gets very hot, but we were there in February, which is in the middle of their winter. So this is probably the coolest weather they had, and it was in the 70s most days. We even got up to 90 degrees one day. So it is a warmer climate. And we just had a little bit of fun exploring, and this is just a huge city. So like any other big city in the world, you can find pretty much anything when it comes to food or things to do. Okay, so in this video, I'm going to put some captions on screen to give you some context for locations and how to spell things, but I am going to do mostly voiceover because that seems to be what most of the feedback was from my last video that you guys like. So our first stop on day 1 was to the Dubai frame. This you can go up in and see some great views, but be careful if you are scared of heights because the floor is see-through and it trips you up because it doesn't appear see-through to begin with. So here's some clips from this site. Our second stop was the Jumeirah Mosque. Now, from our travels, I would say this is one of the least impressive mosques that we've seen, but it was also one of the most inviting. We had a very great tour guide who taught us a lot about Islam and was very open to questions and really made us feel welcome being non-Muslims in his mosque.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. كافها يا عين صاد ذكر رحمة ربك عبده زكريا إذ نادى ربه نداء خفيا قال رب إني وهن العظم مني واشتعل الرأس شيبا ولم أكن بدعائك رب شقيا صدق الله العظيم. If you notice when I read, it goes up, it goes down. You will hear the echo, you will hear the loud sound. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're well, and I hope you're going to learn something very interesting. See that, how we work? Small arch can create an echo. My speaker is still off, but you can hear me. You can even hear the echo.
Okay, so our next stop was the Museum of the Future. This museum explores the future of science, technology, and innovation. The building itself, though, is the coolest part. This is a round shaped building, and it has Arabic language all over it. The Arabic lettering is so beautiful. This is just a gorgeous building, and it's such a sight to see. Definitely worth a visit. We did not actually go through the museum because we were picking and choosing what we wanted to do and where we wanted to spend our money, and it was very crowded, but the outside of the building and the lobby are worth stopping to see just because that is the most gorgeous part. And honestly, it was one of my favorite sites that we saw in Dubai. The next thing that we went to see was Aya Universe, which was kind of a touristy site. It happened to be in this random mall. And honestly, I would say it wasn't very much worth the visit, but the videos and pictures we got were pretty cool. If you have been to the Color Factory in New York City, it is very similar. I would say the Color Factory is better, but this was a similar type of experience. Day 2 was the day it got super hot. We started the day right by the pool, but we did make some missteps throughout the day. But first, I'm going to just share some general thoughts while I journaled by the pool. I want to be respectful in these videos, and I would say that, especially watching this back, we did see a lot of really cool things in Dubai, but I also want to be honest with you guys, and Dubai was not my favorite city. There were a lot of things that you can't see in the footage or in my Instagram content that I do want to share with you. It was super crowded. There were so many people everywhere. And I felt like the local culture was kind of lost because it was really a city with people from all over the world. And while that can be great, I am from New York and I can get that at home. And I had really hoped to see more of the Arabic culture. Secondly, I found it very, very difficult to get around and find anything. Things were not well marked. They didn't make a lot of sense. You had to walk weird roundabout ways to find things. And I'll share more about that later in this video. Finally, the other thing that you might have picked up on so far in the sites I have visited is everything is brand new. So there's a lot of really neat things to see, but they're all new. There's just not any history. So I just wanted to share those thoughts with you so you can keep that in your mind if you're considering a trip to Dubai or the United Arab Emirates when watching this video. So as far as journaling on the road, I try my best to keep up with my journal while traveling because I want to remember everything we did. I want to have those notes for when I go back later to scrapbook it or however else I want to document the vacation. And I know that the notes in real time are going to be the most detailed and most accurate. That said, I don't always have the time and energy to journal while traveling, and sometimes it's just not realistic. Now, we do like a slower pace, but you could see our first day here was so busy, and I did not pull my journal out at all. By the end of the day, I was just ready to lounge and relax, and I didn't really want to journal, and that's totally okay. But we started the second day with a slow morning by the pool, which was the perfect opportunity for me to pull out my journal. Because I don't know if I'm going to have the energy or time to fill in everything, I always start with my weekly spread. My weekly spread is where I put my overview of what happened in the day. And so this is kind of like, we did this first, then this, then this. No real feelings in it, no real emotions. It's more just fact-based and a broad overview of the day. So I did that first, and then I move on to my daily page. I like to do my journaling for my current day first if I have anything to do, and then I will go back and back journal if I have more time. For this time, because I was journaling first thing in the morning, I started by journaling the prior day, which were all of those things you just saw on day one. I included one of the tickets from the Jumeirah Mosque on my spread, and I went from there to journal and just add a bit of my thoughts and details about what happened that day. I did previously share a flip through of my February in my hobonichi cousin, which includes this entire vacation. So you can see more of those spreads in that video if you want to see a full flip through. And I will link that in the description box down below. The other main thing we decided to do this day was take the metro out to the Palm Jumeirah, which means you had to take this like light rail in addition to the regular metro. There were actually 3 different like types of metro we had to take, and one of them was a completely separate ticket, so you had to pay again. I do not recommend going to the Palm Jumeirah. So the Palm Jumeirah is a man-made island shaped like a palm leaf, and we thought it'd be kind of cool to go out there. They do have a lot of resorts and things out there. We weren't staying there, but we thought we just wanted to go see it. Well, it is not walkable. There is not really anything to see unless you are staying at one of the resorts, and you can't really see the shape of the palm leaf unless you go up in a tall building. And there wasn't really even here's the place to go, and buy tickets to see this. It was just not very well designed. So I would recommend skipping the Palm Jumeirah unless you're planning on going to stay in one of the resorts on that beach. It did give the vibe of really any sort of Caribbean or any other place that has a really warm climate that has resorts. It wasn't really any like local stuff. And so if that's what you're looking for, definitely this is the place to go. Otherwise, I would skip it. We also had bad luck that it was super hot that day, so it was just not very pleasant to be walking around. After the Palm Jumeirah, we went back to the hotel. We spent more time by the pool. We lounged and relaxed until the evening. The final thing we did for the day was after dinner, we went to see the Burj Khalifa at night. If you're in Dubai, you have to go see the Burj Khalifa, and you have to go see it at night. You might have gathered from following me, if you follow me, or even from this video, that we're morning people, and so we tend to get out early and get back to the room early, but we made the exception here because you do have to see the light show and the fountain show that they have by the Burj Khalifa and the Dubai Mall. This is a very beautiful thing. It's really nice. It did remind me a lot of Vegas, and it is definitely not its own unique thing, but it's worth seeing. Again, it was super crowded, but still I got a lot of great footage, and it is definitely impressive to see in person.
Welcome to Dubai, Habibis.
For our third day in the United Arab Emirates, we went on a day trip to Abu Dhabi. We joined a tour group for this where we got picked up in a bus and we got taken there. We got taken to all of the sites and brought back to our hotel in Dubai at the end of the day. It was a super long day and it was a really great way to see Abu Dhabi. I will admit that I didn't see as much of the city as I did in Dubai to make a real educated assessment of my thoughts on the city, but I did feel like it was very similar to Dubai, maybe just slightly less crowded and slightly more laid back. But the same issues that kind of came up for me in Dubai, I saw in Abu Dhabi, namely that all of the sites, while gorgeous, had no history and they were really kind of designed for tourists rather than having any real purpose. That said, Abu Dhabi was absolutely gorgeous and I'm very happy that we had a chance to go. Our first stop was to see their version of the Louvre, which was not that impressive, and we went up in a in a tower to see views of the city. Again, not that impressive, but the real impressive thing happened next. We first went to the presidential palace, which was absolutely amazing. And then after lunch, we went to the Grand Mosque. Again, completely breathtaking. I'm sure that these videos do not do it justice for how amazing these two sites were in person. After looking at the courtyard of the presidential palace, we went inside, and the main center hall is just breathtaking. It is so gorgeous, so big, so much going on. It is just a crazy sight to see. That said, this was built in 2017, which in my opinion makes it so much less impressive after spending time in Eastern Europe and going to Istanbul last year and seeing all of those buildings with hundreds and hundreds of years and sometimes over 1,000 years of history. This just isn't the same. But it is still very gorgeous and well worth seeing. And like I said earlier, the video just does not do it justice. After the presidential palace, we got back on our bus and we stopped for lunch. We had Pakistani food, which was absolutely amazing. Unfortunately, I'm so bad at videoing my food, so I never really capture those parts of my travel for you guys, but I will try in the future. Our next stop in Abu Dhabi was the most impressive one, the Grand Mosque, which is just an absolutely breathtaking mosque located in Abu Dhabi. This mosque is huge and beautiful and just breathtaking. The outside and the courtyard are just mind-blowing how amazing they look. This mosque was built in 2007, so again, not as impressive as the mosques that I saw in Istanbul that were built over hundreds of years ago and one of them over 1,000 years ago, but it was still absolutely gorgeous. This is a huge tourist destination, so I'm not sure if it is actually an operational mosque or not, and I'm not sure if it ever was an operational mosque. There weren't people praying or anything while we were there. It was just tourists, but they did have it roped off really well so you could get some great footage that didn't have people in it. But don't be fooled by that because there were a lot of people there. Again, it was really warm weather and it was really nice out, but because this is a mosque, you need to dress very modestly. I found that they were even more strict with this here than when I went to mosques in other places, that I not only needed the head covering, but I needed my arms and legs to be completely covered as well, which would have been fine, but it was pretty hot, so that was a little uncomfortable. That said, it was still very gorgeous, and I highly recommend visiting this mosque. I was disappointed by the inside of the mosque, which wasn't as impressive. It was still large and very decorated, but it just wasn't as nice as the exterior. Then when you leave the mosque, you're kind of funneled into a mall, which makes it seem really touristy and not authentic at all. But all of that to say, I do still think that this mosque is worth seeing. If you are going to Dubai or Abu Dhabi in this area, you definitely need to see this mosque. I would say it was the most impressive site that we saw during this trip. We then got on our bus and came back to our hotel to finish our day from Abu Dhabi. It was such a busy, long day, but definitely worth it. But I did have it in me to do some journaling and document the day afterwards, which was great. And honestly, I have to say, this becomes one of my favorite journal pages I have ever made. And I do have pictures of it on my Instagram, and you can see it in that flip through of my February journal if you can't really see it as well here while I'm filming my process. I try my best to capture my process of journaling, but I know while I am traveling, I just don't have the best setup in hotels. And sometimes I don't necessarily want to share all of my words. So I'm just trying to share a little bit of my process as we go. Okay, so for my journaling, I printed a photo of the mosque and I used my selfie square, which I absolutely love for travel. It creates high quality prints very quickly. You just connect it to your phone, and it is also super thin. I mean, it's still a photo, so it's not as thin as like magazine paper, but it is pretty thin for putting in my journal. I also cut out this image of the presidential palace. So the photos, the mosque and the presidential palace, I cut out an image from one of the flyers I grabbed from there, and I put stickers for the Grand Mosque. You could see how I had to peel them up because I didn't plan it out in advance. And what I would have liked is if I could have done the presidential palace and the Grand Mosque in those letter stickers, but unfortunately my page was just not big enough for the size of the letter stickers. I kind of wish I had some smaller ones, but I did flip back to my weekly basically spread there because I wanted to make sure I got the names of all of these locations correct. And I was drawing little geotags for the 2 places that I was identifying on this spread. And then I do my journaling around all of the items that I put on the page. I like to kind of decorate my page first and then journal, but I don't always do that. I tend to do it at least a little bit. Sometimes you'll see that I do some journaling as I go and then add more decor. But for a page like this, especially for a travel spread, I'm going to do all of the decor first and then come back and add in the words. I apologize for my beautiful pajamas while I'm journaling, but I was being comfortable and relaxed in the evening in my hotel room. After I finished up my spread for this day, just like I said in my previous segment, I went back to fill in some gaps from the day before. I did move my camera over so you could see it, but I also wanted to share, if you saw that, I have my pencil board behind here because I do want the pencil board so that I don't smudge or anything or like make any indents on the pages behind. But I like the feel of writing on top of the Tomoe River paper, like a few stacks of them, then on top of the pen board. So what I've done is taken some sheets of A5 Tomoe River paper. I think I took maybe like 4 or 5 sheets and I taped them to my pencil board using just some washi tape, and that makes a smooth surface for my journaling. Every few months or so I will replace the paper that's on it, and I do use it as like scratch paper at a time, but it just adds a better surface for me when I'm writing. I'm going back to fill in what I did the previous day. This was the last time I had journaled was when I was by the pool. So you could see I did a little bit of journaling at the pool, but I hadn't filled in the rest of that day. Day 3 started with a trip to the top of the Burj Khalifa. So the Burj Khalifa is a very tall skyscraper in Dubai, and it is currently the world's tallest building, although there is a new building being built in Saudi Arabia that is going to be taller, but it is not done yet. The Burj Khalifa was completed in 2009, and I'm not entirely sure what it serves as. I think it has some apartments and that type of thing in it, but it also has the tourist deck, of course, where you can go up and see the sights. So this building is 2,722 feet tall, which is over half a mile, which is just ridiculous. And when you go to the top, you, of course, don't actually go to the top, but you do go very high in the building, and I could see all of the views from 360 degrees around the building. So it is just very impressive. But what they don't advertise that they should is that the elevator is the smoothest elevator I have ever taken, and it gets you all the way up to the top super, super quickly. And while I didn't get a chance to film the elevator going up, I did film it coming down. And you can see it goes all the way from the 124th floor and it comes down. And you can see from the view of the outside of the elevator, the floors count down and just how quick it takes you. And I have to say, from riding it, it is the smoothest elevator ride I have ever been on. So I know that is just like a silly thing, but if you are someone who is unsure about taking an elevator 124 floors, I have to say that you won't hate this one. So the rest of the day we spent exploring the Dubai Mall, which is connected to the Burj Khalifa. The Dubai Mall is the largest mall in the world, and it is actually very impressive and very nice. I really enjoyed shopping in Dubai because I am pretty petite and I like more modest styles somewhat. And I found that it was much easier to find things that fit me and that I liked in this mall. Unfortunately, I was a little tired, so we didn't have a ton of time to shop. And the mall is massive. We could have spent the entire week there, but it was just really nice to see. And there's also a lot of like touristy attractions and just like neat things in the mall, including the Chinatown section. And of course, I had to visit the really nice bookstore in the mall as well. So our fourth and final day in Dubai, we didn't have a ton left to do. We did spend a lot of the day relaxing in the room and by the pool and just trying to feel more relaxed and ready to take the 14.5-hour flight home. We did go see the marina because we were told it would be really nice, and it really wasn't. There wasn't really anything to see, but we did get some good food. And then we also went to go see the public library, which again was a disappointment. We thought it would be nice because it was advertised like a tourist attraction, and the one in Doha was so impressive, but it was just a nice library. So that kind of wrapped up our trip to Dubai. I'm still happy that we went. I'm happy we saw Dubai and Abu Dhabi. I'm happy we visited the United Arab Emirates. It is a nice place. The weather is great in the winter. It is very safe of a city to visit, but it definitely would not be at the top of my list of places to recommend. And I don't think I would ever go back just because there's so many places to see in the world. That said, I'm still happy that I went, and there were obviously some great experiences and some great photos. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below and stay tuned to see how I document this adventure. I hope to see you guys all in the next one. Bye.